God bless you all. Today we're going to start these talks about pastoral wisdom. You know that in a hospital one needs to be wise. Pastoral wisdom is essential within a hospital. So today we are going to start this series of, let's say, sharings about it. First of all, I want to take you to Job chapter 28 verse 12 that says, "But where shall wisdom be found? And where is the place of understanding?" The hospital presents to us these opportunities, these challenges. So in the middle of the book of Job then, there seems to be a break in the narrative account. First of all, there is Job's plight and his friends' efforts to help him, and they are left for a while. And instead, the author gives us a poem on wisdom, and it expresses poetically what the reader of Job already suspects, that the dialogue concerning Job and his friends really can provide no satisfactory answer to his problem. And although some scholars contend that the section of Job is a later addition to the story, others consider it as an integral part of the book, the structure of the book. Whatever is the case, as evidenced and shown by the ineffective efforts of Job's friends to care for him, the poem reminds us of the importance of having, or rather developing, some kind of pastoral wisdom. But our question is this: where is wisdom to be found? Especially when one is faced with human lostness. That lostness help us to, or else incite us to adopt or to put some pastoral wisdom to the situation. Obviously, we as human beings can know and discover so many things in the world. But on the other hand, the wisdom to deal with the practical and painful situations in our own lives and in the lives of others is a long and never-ending journey. We learn every day how to really cope with life. And the question that stems is, what kind of wisdom then is essential when one is dealing with human hurt? Obviously, this wisdom must certainly include, first of all, the knowledge, the ABC, about pastoral care in general, and also concerning about the many of the particular situations that obviously help us to care for others. Pastoral wisdom includes more than sheer knowledge about something. It rather involves the practical knowledge of how to do and to be. Rather, it involves being able to respond appropriately to situations, calling for care, and sometimes, and this is the most important of all, how one is and what one represents is part of that wisdom. So pastoral wisdom in itself involves three important things. First of all, knowing, being, and doing. Now, what is wisdom? Wisdom is commonly understood as the ability to make appropriate choices and good decisions. wisdom is not born with a person. It comes from everyday living, from making mistakes and learning from them. And wisdom is often taught as of a state of mind characterized by profound understanding and deep insight. And although it is often accompanied by intelligence and obviously academic knowledge, that is not always necessary. In fact, wisdom can be found among relatively uneducated persons who have developed it through learning from their experience. A person who has wisdom is one who has a larger view of reality and of the situation that needs to be dealt with without losing sight of the particularity and intricacies of interrelationships within the situation. Thus, wisdom involves the acceptance of complexity in a situation as a matter of fact. And this is evidenced in the relationships between persons and things that are not always the same. So one needs to recognize that relationships between persons and things are not always the same, and that there is a messiness and disorder in life that must be dealt with. So, wisdom helps to bring some order to the messiness of life. And the book of the Bible, known as the wisdom literature, the books of the Bible known as the wisdom literature, like Job, Proverbs, and Ecclesiastes, can be a source for developing personal and pastoral wisdom. And many persons have turned to these books less frequently than others because they appear to be more about human relationships than about the relationship of God and humankind. There is less talk about God in them and more language that is not specifically religious. Thus, at first glance, they may seem less inspiring than the rest of the books in the Bible. But theologically, the wisdom literature of the Bible seems more concerned with creation rather than redemption, and the Old Testament scholar Carol Newsom describes the wisdom literature as affirming God's creative activity by which the orderliness and dependability of the world is achieved. Human wisdom is having insight into this world in order to live successfully and harmoniously. Biblical wisdom affirms the goodness of creation and believes that the good life in a material sense, is not in essential conflict with the good life in the moral sense. The essence of such wisdom is to appreciate the relationship between one's acts and their consequences for oneself and for others. Wisdom is essentially concerned with the creation of a good life in the family and the local community and in the larger society. And pastoral care is also involved with these practical human concerns, assuming that person's relationship with God is a part of them, whether God is talked about or not. So, God, we ask you that you grant us this pastoral wisdom in the intricacies of everyday situations, and help us to see more deeply your work in the work we do in your name. May God bless you all.